Welcome to Home Dad Chat, brought to you by the National At Home Dad Network. My name is Brock,
My name is Danny.
and we are here to talk about life as stay at home dads. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
No, I don't want much. I even love handmade crafts made of macaroni. Come on now, you should know me. Times I might eat too much. No worry about my weight. Got the dad bod rocking on me. Sketches on my feet. Cargo shorts look good on me. I'm a dad, that's what I do.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. Definitely got a little bit more liveliness in my voice this week compared to last week, so I'm glad that that's the case. My mental health is a little bit higher than last week, so that's a good thing. How are you doing, Danny?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing well. It's been a long week or so. It's been a long month, in fact. But yeah, I'm doing good. Got a little
That's
bit of
awesome.
a allergy scritch in my throat, and I'm like, that's fine. That's the worst that's going on today. I'm having a beautiful day.
Yeah, that's that kind of the year where you get all those fun allergy things kicking in because all the
Mhm.
pollen's floating around everywhere. So I understand that.
I foolishly thought I moved away from the pollen issue, but no.
Yeah, I mean wherever trees are, pollen is there.
But Georgia, man, that's a yellow storm. I mean, granted, it's only the pine pollen is like this big and it can't get in your face, but yeah, I was hoping, because most of the pollens don't bother me like tree pollens, but evidently something here does.
Yeah, I think you have to move out to Arizona where there's
Ew.
not those kind of trees.
No offense to anyone or to Arizona itself, but that is not for me. I would die. I'm too weak. Just chalk it up to Danny's too weak, and I'd be fine with that.
You can move to Washington State to the high desert, then you'd be okay. That there not really
Yeah,
those kind of trees around that section. So
might be a potential.
that's a potential definitely. So well, hey man, I'm just glad to be able to talk to you. I'm glad that we've been having these conversations just about mental health and last week's conversation definitely was deep, but it was good. Me like having to listen to it again while editing the podcast just hit really just hard a second time. And I don't think I really talked a whole lot. I mean, I talked a little bit about what was going on with me, but I will say that for the situation with my mom and everything, like she's doing tremendously well. Um,
Hmm.
she's really defied the odds for having a spinal injury to the extent that she had, and
Yeah.
she's at the point now where I got a full two-armed hug from her yesterday when I went to visit her, and she's all kinds of laughs and whatnot. The other thing that's really funny, I'll tell you, is I found out where my dark humor comes from. It's
Hmm.
definitely from both of my parents, not just one, because my dad and mom were, I guess, just like on Amazon looking around for different things and came across a t-shirt that says, I did not trip. The floor needed a hug. And it's a picture of an elephant, like smack dab on the floor with his trunk kind of up a little bit. And my mom was like, buy that for me. Had my dad buy that for her, and she was so excited about it. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm like, wow. Well, we're, just a little over a week out of all this, and you're already doing dark humor jokes. Okay,
Hmm.
we're
Yeah. We're moving in the right direction. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
And when she was lying there at the bottom of the stairs with a broken back and she told your child not to worry, just to go get some help, she's fine. She was right. We were all worried about her for no reason, obviously, because
Obviously,
she's
yeah,
not 100%, I know, but I love the progress that she's had that you told me about.
yeah,
I can't imagine how scary it's been for you. I don't want
yeah.
to pull that up too much because that's a hard emotion to talk about, but I can imagine where I would have been. And I'm really glad it's all kind of turning itself around.
Yeah, well, I mean, and Corey pointed out a couple things to me over the weekend because I think I was just finally starting to process what was going on, and I didn't really know what to say. I wasn't like having like a I don't know. I wasn't crying or anything like that, but I was definitely trying to figure out how to cope or try to figure out how to wrestle with what took place. And basically, I on like Wednesday, I ordered on Amazon Prime these like carpet strips that have some like grooves in them
Hmm.
to put onto the linoleum that was on there. Well, I ended up just basically going all out and tearing the linoleum off of the stairs. I ended up like going to town, like taking, I guess, all my anger and frustration and
Yeah.
emotions out on the steps by 120 and 80 grit, like hand sanding the heck out of those things, and just made it into a big old project to just make the stairs a little bit safer and not so slippery. And I don't know, like she pointed it out to me because I was like, she had her ideas for how it wanted to be, and I was like, nope, this is how we're doing it. And I was going through all these different things, and then I ended up like kind of blowing up on her just because of the conversation we were having, and coming to the realization like, yep, that's what I was doing. That was my way of processing what was going on, and I
Hmm.
just didn't want her in the way. For this was my process on how I was going to go
Yeah.
about this. So
Well,
yeah, that
yeah, and I think it's very very interesting because a lot of times, Marty and I have talked about going into your cave, right? When typically in most relationships, when a woman walks away, she kind of wants you to follow her. You know, she wants to continue that conversation. She just needs a moment and she'll be ready to go in a minute. Whereas a man walks away, like I'll go out. If I go out into my workshop, you need to just leave me there. And you need to wait until I come back. You know, I am not in a mental, emotional place where I can talk to you or I can continue this conversation, argument, whatever it is. I got to calm down and I got to get my brain back under control, my emotions back under control. And then I'll be like, all right, we were talking and you're right. We need to, repaint the car. Well, I don't know, whatever thing that we were arguing about that we shouldn't really been arguing about. And it really has been interesting to me to watch Marnie slowly get to the point where I'll get angry. I'm like, nah, I need, I just walk out because I can't even talk when I'm angry. And you just see her start to follow and then stop. Like, no, it's a bad idea. He needs his time. He's just got to go out and, build a chair or something, or, I don't know, break a chair even. I don't know, but do some work in the workshop and just get his mind off of it and
yep.
he'll be okay. You know, just leave me alone. Let me go in my cave.
I was like that yesterday when I was finishing up editing. I was getting ready to publish, and I couldn't find like Canva had moved around some things, and I could not, for the love
Right.
of God, find where the content planner was because it was not in the place that it has been for years.
Uh-huh.
And they basically like shoved it into a spot where I'm like, that's stupid. Um, I don't know who that person is, but if I find that developer, I might have words for him. But I was so angry that at one point I was just like, I just want to crawl into a dark hole right now. I'm just at that. I was at that point, and Corey at that point figured out that uh, I was also overwhelmed with the fact that like our dishwasher isn't working. So of course we've got dishes stacked up like crazy, and dinner needed to be made, and I was just like, I don't really want to eat right now. I don't really care. Like, there's food in the house. Like,
Hmm.
find something, whatever. And she went out there and actually like got the kids to like start doing some of the dishes. And she started working on dinner and didn't even like really say anything about it and just kind of like let me be. And I don't know if it was just the sound of knowing that they were out there doing those things, but I like finally like kind of started to like calm down, and I ended up finding where that a content planner was and got that done and came out and was like, yeah, I figured out where the content planner is. Like, and I could like awareness wise, I was like, oh, like I'm emotionally changing. Like I can feel it towards the
Yeah.
situation, and like it was kind of a nice moment where we like came together as a family, actually sat down and had dinner together as a family, which is something that we try to do as often as possible. And then Corey and I's anniversary was actually on the 19th, and we really didn't do a whole lot because it was crazy. And so last night we actually sat down, just kind of enjoyed hanging out together, watched a show, but we poured some of our tequila from our trip and broke open some of our dark chocolate that we bought on the trip in Mexico as well, and actually just had a moment where we took a couple pictures of us just like celebrating and just having that moment. I'm like, oh, like yeah, we totally didn't do any of that stuff. So it was good, but I think like we've talked about, it's just being aware
Hmm.
of what's going on in your life and coming to a way to move forward from it, whether that be talking to someone professionally or that just be having a conversation with your spouse or, somebody else close to
Yeah.
you, whatever it is. Like you either got to come to it one of two ways so that you can move forward, because otherwise it's just going to just grind you into the ground.
Hmm.
Well, hey, we have a guest today. His name is Bob Evans, and no, he is not from down on the farm. Sorry, I
The
had to. It's been in
Sausage
my.
King of Chicago. That's what I keep
No,
wanting to
that's
say.
that's not that's
Abe
not him.
Froman.
That's Abe Froman. Yeah, no, this is he would be the breakfast king of rural America. Bob Evans actually is a top.
MoBro.
Yeah,
He's a
he's known as
MoBro.
MoBro. He is a top just uh I don't know what's the word I'm looking for there. I'm losing it. Like
Fundraiser, contributor.
fundraiser. There it is. Yes, he's a top fundraiser for Movember. Gosh, man, I'm just things are not clicking. That hamster is tripping up in my head. So he's going to come on and talk about his story and just about Movember. I'm really excited to talk with him because I watched the 5 minute YouTube video of just sort of his kind of coming into being a part of Movember and how that all happened. And I think that it's very inspirational,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
I think it's very motivating to hear, because sometimes you just don't know where your money goes when you're raising money for nonprofits or something like Movember, and you're going to hear a really tangible story as to
Hmm.
what happens with that money. So we'll be back in
Yeah.
just a moment with Bob Evans. Become a member of the National At Home Dad Network, an organization focused on providing advocacy, community, education, and support, connecting with households where dad is the primary caregiver of the children. We do this through our webinar and podcast series, mental health support groups, regular online social events, as well as our annual convention. The National At Home Dad Network is a 100% volunteer organization. Without the generous support of its members and the community around it, we would not be able to continue the work that we do. Becoming a member gives you access to past convention speaker presentations, the ability to vote for board members annually, and ensures that the organization's fees and bills are in positive standing. Oh yeah, it should not go unmentioned that there is some cool swag headed your way if you decide to become a member. For only $35 a year, your membership provides you with the exclusive content only we can generate, and you'll be supporting an organization that benefits families all around the country and world. By advocating for them, offering them community, providing education and guidance, and supporting them to grow in their parenthood journey. And one last thing, if you contribute $500 or more, you will become a lifetime member. Not only will you receive everything already mentioned, but also a certificate recognizing your status and an exclusive National At Home Dad Network challenge coin with our trademark logo, Dads Don't Babysit. So, what are you waiting for? Become a member today. All right, and we are back from our break, and we have with us Bob Evans, as we were talking about. He is a top fundraiser for Movember and just an all-around good guy. He's got an illustrious mustache I'm super jealous of. I think even Hulk Hogan would be jealous of that mustache for sure. Bob, welcome to the show, man. How are you doing?
Thanks. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Your story is quite compelling, and I feel like I was telling Danny before you came on that quite an inspiration and a story that also too. I feel like it's got a lot to give in the fashion of just when you're a part of Movember. I think sometimes you're like, this is a lot of fun, like to be, a part of it. They've done a great job of putting together how to be involved, but at the same time too, you're like, what is your money? What does it go towards? What does it do? And so
Yeah.
it was really quite interesting to hear how that became very much a actual like physical touch of things with the with the money that gets raised. Just kind of want to go back. Like, I mean, some people will probably listen to the story or see it when we put it up with the episode itself, but just share a little bit about like just who you are and kind of how you got involved with Movember.
Yeah, great question. So it goes back to 2008 in November. A former neighbor of mine shared the link with me about November. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. You raise awareness around men's health and you don't have to run a 5K. You just get lazy and not shave, right? So grow a
Right,
mustache. Well,
right.
fast forward 6 months after that, I got diagnosed with the aggressive kind of prostate cancer. So it's like, okay, well, maybe I was meant to bump into November at some point in time. And it just became a mission of mine to help raise awareness because I think that a lot of guys don't talk about, whether it's prostate cancer or
Hmm.
testicular cancer or men's mental health. And so, I don't mind bringing up the topic and kind of paying it forward, if you will. And it's interesting how over the years I've raised money, more importantly, raised awareness. And a couple of years ago, my doctor had me. Um, my PSA was climbing, and so she wanted to put me
Hmm.
through a new test. It's called the PSMA PET scan. And her comment to me was, "Yeah, this was funded by Movember. Have you heard of them?" And I just chuckled a little bit and I said, yeah, of course I have. And so it was like a full circle moment that the funds I'm raising actually go for research and progress when it comes to testing. And it's a more accurate test now than just doing a bone scan or a CT scan. So or an MRI. So yeah, that was when it really hit home to me that the dollars I'm raising, help raise, go for real research, and men can take advantage of it. So thankful that Movember has been around for what, 21, 22 years now, and this is my 17th year involved with Movember. So
Oh
Wow.
wow, that's awesome.
Talking to the
yeah,
OG, I'm just going to say it's very impressive to me. I've been aware, I guess, of Movember for no, probably not more than 5 years or so. I don't really grow facial hair, so I don't think anybody would have come to me and said, "Hey, Danny, you could do this." But as you get a little bit older, you become more and more aware of prostate cancer.
right.
Whether someone that that gets it, or your doctor tells you, "Hey, we need to start looking at this," and these are the ways that we can check for it and what have you. And found a lot of times that people in this area that I've talked to, they're like, no, I don't know what Movember is, until you get into closer to the cities. And then it's much more prevalent. People hear much more common for people go, oh, yeah, God, yeah, of course I know about Movember.
Right.
I think living out here a little far away from, it's a wave. It's just got to reach us, how it
Yep.
is at Steam Point.
Yeah.
But would love to hear more about, if you're okay with it, talking about how you got your diagnosis. And I think, especially because I think it's important, and I think you would too, to help people understand that you waited originally and that we need to not wait. And I'd like to know more about that if you don't mind.
Yeah, that's a great question, Danny. My younger brother was diagnosed with prostate cancer when he was 42. And his doctor said, okay, if you have any brothers, they should go get checked. And, I went online and I looked at all the symptoms and I didn't have any. So I thought, well, okay, I'm not in danger. And about 15 months went by and my mom called me one day and said, have you gotten your PSA checked? And I said, no, not yet. I don't have any symptoms. And she said, just do it for me so I can sleep at night. So I said, okay, mom, I'll do it.
Okay.
So I got my PSA checked, and lo and behold, it was my first PSA came back at 40, and 6 days later it was 58.
Oh,
And my urologist at the time said, "Listen, your counts are increasing rapidly, and that means you've got the aggressive form of prostate cancer."
hmm.
Had I continued to procrastinate and not listen to my mom, I may not be here today. It's
Yeah.
just it was a ticking time bomb inside my body, and my mom saved my life. And so that's how it came to be that I found out And I've had some great doctors along the way that I've been working with to keep it from metastasizing, right? Just want to
Right.
keep it kind of still, if you will.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think we're definitely in a world where the whole idea of like going to the doctor is getting less like going to the doctor as a man is getting less of like this whole like stigma of like, oh, what'd you go to the doctor for kind of deal. Especially when you hear stories like yours. I think that, this whole idea of, well, I didn't feel like I had this or whatever, and then like later you get hit with the news like you were talking about. And I think that with just the fact that it's important for us to take care of ourselves, and that's become more of the message than this whole idea of like, oh no, I'm not gonna do anything. I know you're presenting at Home Dad Con, talking about brave men talk, and I think that that is definitely just a huge topic right now,
Yeah.
because there is this whole idea of like, oh, like, it's not so much, I guess, like, it's not really in like a land of like toxic masculinity or anything like that, but it's just this idea of like men need to be aware and need to break out of this like shell of, oh, I'm okay, everything's
Yeah.
fine, like I'll take care of myself or whatever. It's like, no, like there's a stop looking at just the tree and look at the forest, and the fact that like there's way more people that are affected by even the decisions that we make our individual selves, and just how that would impact. So I love the fact that your mom stayed on you. Moms are
Yeah.
good at that.
Yeah, they are. And there's that stigma that, men should just suck it up and be tough. And I think we're moving away from that, or less of that, if you will. But it's funny, when I first got diagnosed, I worked in a software company, and we had a sales meeting, and I ended up mentioning to the sales team that I was just diagnosed. Four people came up to me after I mentioned that and said, "Oh, my uncle has prostate cancer." All of a sudden it came out of the woods. Men don't talk about topics like that, but I always share this. If five strange women went to lunch after an hour, they would be sharing intimate things, and that's just how women are. If five strange men go to lunch, we'll talk about baseball, we'll talk about sports, the PGA championship, but we won't talk about anything below the belt or anything up here, men's mental health. I mean,
Hmm.
that's, you know, to me, that is, we got to break out of that stigma and talk more
Oh
about it,
yeah.
because every minute of every day, a man dies of suicide.
Hmm.
Every minute of every day. That's 1,400 families that'll wake up tomorrow without a loved one. And we have to stop men from dying too young. And 98 men will die today from prostate cancer. And it
Hmm.
shouldn't be. We should be getting
Right.
tested younger. We should, be more aware of our health and checkups. We go get our teeth cleaned twice a year, right?
Yep.
Hmm.
We should take care of our health overall.
Yeah. Get a little mental floss too.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, to go have that checked out. The thing that I see, and I love this about you, Bob. I know we haven't actually met in person, but one of the things we've noticed, because I facilitate a couple of men's mental health groups, support groups, and the biggest thing that I've seen over the last 3, 4 years we've been doing it is all men really need is for one strong man, and as your talk says, brave man, to just step up and say, look, this is what has happened to me. This is what I'm feeling. This is, what I'm going through, or this is what I'm going to do to make sure I don't have testicular cancer or prostate cancer or what have you. And one strong man, one brave man stands up and just kind of opens the door. And everyone else is like, oh, we can go through that door. That's okay. And it's so simple. We just need someone to say, yeah, let's do this. It's okay to do this. And then they bravely go and do it. And I love that you're one on the podcast, but that you're coming to San Antonio, coming to the convention, for people to be able to meet you in person. And really, I feel they're going to get that understanding that this isn't some, this isn't some touchy-feely, weak little man that comes in here that doesn't know what he's talking about. This is a guy that's been through it, that keeps going through it, because if I understand it, can never be cured, right? So it's an ongoing thing for the rest of your life. And yet you still do it
Right.
and you're helping other men understand it and learn it and get it. And I love that you've opened that door for so many of us. That's fantastic, Bob.
That's a great point, Danny. It does come down to one person being vulnerable, if you will, and just talking about it gives everybody in the room permission to talk about it. So I sometimes say that I may have been put on this earth to get prostate cancer so that I can be an evangelist about men's health and men's mental health, right? Because when you hear those words, all of a sudden your mind can go different places, right? And so it's not just the physical, I've got
Right.
prostate cancer, but it's the mental side that goes with it. And so many people in
Hmm.
this world, you hear those
Hmm.
words, you have cancer. Joe Biden just heard it. And
Yeah.
so it's more prevalent than people realize. The same number of men will get prostate cancer that 1 in 8
Oh, wow. I
is
didn't
the
know
same
that.
ratio that
Yeah.
women get breast cancer, 1 in 8. African American
Wow.
men are twice as
Hmm.
likely to get it. So 1 in 4 African American men. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's
I don't really like using this phrase because it's kind of stereotypical for people that work in mental health, but to normalize it, to make it understanding that no, you can have this conversation. You can sit at
mhm.
Thanksgiving dinner and mention that you've had a physical checkup of some kind for prostate cancer. There's no problem with this. This isn't, the stigma around it is completely unnecessary. And as you pointed out, very unhealthy.
Yeah. Well, and I think it goes back to men saying, I don't want to,
Hmm.
you have the physical exam
Right.
for prostate cancer. You don't have to. It's a blood
Hmm.
test, right? Just a simple blood test
Right.
to check your PSA.
Right. I was really delighted personally to find out that that he could tell slightly from. He goes, we may have to check another way, but and I was like, no, this is good. I'm good. Are you? I told my doctor, I said, are you okay with this? And he said, yeah, for right now at your age, where everything going on like you've got it, I'm good with it. Let's just check it every year. And it's easy.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Just you establish a baseline, Danny, and from there, just kind of monitor it. And if it goes up, then it might be time to have a different type of a test. And in fact, I even read not long ago that they're trying to leverage a test, a urine test, right, to detect prostate cancer. We continue to make advances. I mean, since my diagnosis in '09, 4 new drugs have been approved by the FDA for men with prostate cancer. And all 4 of them are in replacement
Wow.
of chemotherapies. And they don't come with the nasty side effects, and they actually
Yeah.
extend your life longer. So we're making advances. We just need to continue the conversation, and I'm happy to carry the
I
torch.
Hmm.
think that also too, it's interesting that we're talking about the idea of 1 in 8 women get breast cancer, 1 in 8 men get prostate cancer. You have, I don't know if this isn't so much in where you guys live at, but I know here in town, like there's a huge RV that does mammograms. The hospital actually drives all over the city. It will park it in different places, and women can come and get checked for that kind of thing. And just having this conversation, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, there needs to be a similar vehicle that goes around and has the ability for guys to be able to get, a prostate exam, like, or get the blood test, like that kind of thing, like something where, it's like kind of coming to those people in that community. Especially with the fact that you're talking about like African Americans, like they're, twice as like that. I think coming into communities like that and just basically being like, hey, like we're right here. We want to support you. Like, with this, even education towards it, that kind of thing. And so hopefully that's something that, maybe that's something that Movember can even like put into like their
It's
thing
a
to
great
push out
idea.
there. I think that just
Yep.
because, I mean, one thing, it'd be really cool to just see an RV with a big old mustache driving around town, but
Yeah. Great idea. Yeah.
definitely going to draw the eye for sure as to like what the heck that is. And in Cincinnati, that's kind of a big thing. I don't know if you know too much about Cincinnati, but I mean our mascot for the Cincinnati Reds is got a big old mustache. Like that's kind of
Yeah.
the thing. Like they're actually even like statues of mustaches around the city from when we had the All-Star game back in like 2016. And so, yeah, like that to me, I think would be just a great way to sort of get men more access to that, and also just, like I said, break down that wall of like it's okay to like have that conversation. So I don't know. Like I said, it's inspiring me to like kind of make some calls around. And I
Yep.
know a few people that have some power like that here in the city. I'm gonna have to drop some ideas in their head and see if they can make some
See if
gears
it
move or
bounces.
whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
I've done some stuff with
definitely.
Movember in the past. You were talking about just, the whole no shave portion of it. I've done that. I've made my wife cry when I did it. I actually shaved my beard off on live Facebook with like the I think it's Aaron, the one of the main guys from Movember or something like that. So she was in the bathroom while I was doing it, and the kids and everybody were like, "No!" So that was really funny. It was a whole bunch of like city dads organizers too, so it was hysterical. But then also too, I've been able to just do the moving portion of it, where I actually challenged a couple other dads in the National At Home Dad Network who we were also all on the board at the same time, and we were trying to do like who could get to 60 miles the quickest, like running, walking,
Hmm.
whatever it was. And so that was a fun little challenge. And then I partnered one time with a brewery here in town. The owner actually was I think a two-time survivor of testicular cancer. And it was during COVID. So that made things very interesting. It was like right as things were starting to get shut down, but we ended up on the news and was able to raise some money through a beer donation type of deal, where like $1 a pint for like the entire day would like go to them and stuff like that. So lots of creative ways to definitely be doing the fundraising thing. Like I was saying, you're a top fundraiser person. I'm very jealous of all your skateboards. I'm not a skateboarder myself, but I love artwork and
All the
decks of
decks. Yeah.
skateboards. So that was really cool. How are you going about raising money? What are you doing? I know that you've kind of made yourself a little bit famous with the MoBro type of deal. Give us a rundown on that to hopefully inspire some of our listeners to get involved.
Yeah, great question. So back in the day when I was working, fortunately I'm retired right now, but I would be the team captain, if you will,
Hmm.
with the companies I would work with, and raise awareness that way, and just recruit as many people as possible to join the team. Now you don't have to grow a mustache, because we had Mo sisters, as we call them, and the ladies in our lives, because they have husbands, brothers, dads, sons that need to get checked as
Hmm.
well. So we just recruit as and have as much fun with it as possible. Last year, I work at a golf course. The We ended up having a happy hour and served some pizzas, and we had silent auction items, and we had a 50-50 raffle. But I brought my laptop, and we showed put up some interesting statistics about men's health, and that went over well. And then I also Gillette is a sponsor of Movember, and they ended up sending me. I'm a considered a community ambassador. They sent me some razors, and they came in the travel kit. So it was the stand, the razor, the three razors with it, and we gave those away. And I also ended up taking some of those razors to my barber shop
Hmm.
and hung up the Movember flag and
Nice.
got the conversation going at the barbershop as well. So different ways to get the word out. We're going to do another event this Movember at the golf course, but I like the idea of a brewery, and we got a couple of them nearby. I should stop in and see if we can raise some raise some awareness that way.
Yeah, I actually work at a brewery here in town. I'm the event coordinator for Deadlow Brewing, and we've done a lot of these fundraisers with nonprofits, where basically for an entire month, we'll pick a beer, and $1 from each pint sold goes to like that nonprofit or that that fundraiser type of deal. So it's a super easy ask to go into a brewery and say, "Hey, would you be willing to do this for a month?" And you know, they a lot of times they're not going to pick like their top rated beer to do that because it's like they have to, they got to make money too, that kind of thing, to lose all of it.
Right.
But it's really not hard if you get a bunch of breweries together doing it to, make somewhere between like $300 and $500, in a month for each one of those
Yeah.
from each one of those breweries. It's one of the things I like to tell a lot of nonprofits. I'm like, just go to these breweries. Like they all love to be philanthropists and give back to the community in that way. And
Yeah, that's very
I
true.
think I think that you think about the amount of men that go to breweries and women who go to breweries and just the popularity of it. Like having something like that, like it's a great place to set up information booths, that kind of deal to like really kind of get the word
Yeah.
out. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's very hard to not just be in a city and not run into a few of those breweries that are
A
around.
microbrewery. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, no doubt. It's a great idea.
definitely.
So one of the things I was wanted to talk about too is, and we've talked about this with November recently, and they're giving us more materials to put on to show our membership and things like that. But it's Movember because originally it was November, mustache Mo, and it makes really good sense. It's marketing genius, in fact. But really been moving towards offering this type of stuff year round. Because the understanding that while it is very important to focus on this, 1 month a year is great. The reality of it is that this is something we deal with every day, not just the numbers that you brought up already, but I think we all can say either I personally or someone I know stresses out, gets worried about stuff, and unnecessarily paranoid about whatever, that mental health aspect of it, but also the fact that
Yeah.
your prostate and your testicles are not going to wait until November to do anything.
Right.
So, how do you do for the rest of the year? What do you have going on as far as any activities or anything that you're involved in?
Yeah, great. That's a great point, Danny. You're right. It's not just 1 month a year. It goes on the entire year. I'm growing the Mo because Movember is having a golf outing, the second annual, in the middle of June. And so I'm traveling out to Pasadena to take part in that. And
Nice.
so as I'm growing my mustache right now, people are saying, what's with what's with the Mo? Hey, I'm glad you brought that up.
Right.
I'm raising awareness around men's health. And so
Nice.
that was the premise of bringing back the old mustache. The slang term for a mustache in Australia is a mo, and Movember was founded in Australia, in Melbourne, and decided to bring back the mustaches. And then that was 1 year. The second year they tried to legitimize it basically, so they went to the Prostate Cancer Foundation of Australia and said, "Hey, will you partner with us?" And they said, "Well, we're a very conservative organization.
We're,
We
we
don't
don't
want
want
to
to do
partner
that.
with you. But if you raise money, we'll take it."
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
So, yeah. And so they ended up raising money. They gave it to the Prostate Cancer Foundation of Australia, and it was the single largest donation they'd ever received.
Oh,
So,
wow.
and that's how it all started 21 years
Hmm.
ago. So fast forward to today, Movember's in 21 different countries. And so if I'm in Canada, if I'm in the UK, Ireland, I can go online, fill out my profile, raise awareness, raise funds in that country's denomination. So
Nice. That
yeah,
is very
it's
cool.
but to expand on the answer about all year round, it's for me, it is, I won't just grow the mustache during Movember.
Hmm.
So I'll grow it 3, 4 times per year. And it just prompts people to say, "Hey, what's with the hairy
Yeah.
lip?" And I'm
Yeah.
like,
What are you doing?
"Yes, raising awareness around men's
That's
health."
great, Bob.
And it's a conversation starter. So yeah, and then all my former coworkers and friends that I've had for years, they just recognize me as the Movember guy,
Hmm.
right?
That's
And
awesome.
that's fine. I will carry that
Yeah.
torch, but more importantly, let's talk about men's health.
Hmm.
I also really like your tattoo that you have. Like that's freaking awesome.
That's a few years old, and I actually called Movember before I had it done. I said, "You're not changing your logo anytime soon, are you?"
Well done.
Yeah. So yeah,
Because I'm making a commitment here. I want
Yeah,
to make
don't you
sure.
rebrand
exactly.
on me, buddy.
Right.
That's great. That's great.
So no, it's all good. And again, it's just about putting myself out there
Hmm.
and getting the topic, on the table and let's talk about it. So
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think enough people are affected by it in different ways. Like I said, like, whether it be somebody or, it be yourself type of deal. Like it's one of those things where it is a conversation that it can be tough, but at the same time too, I think the ability to have the conversation, it just allows for one, the information to get out there, and two, if people are wanting to be involved, like just having that opportunity to share that. So I think that's great.
yeah, one thing that I have done over the years is made myself available for anyone who wants to, talk about it. So last year, I had a former coworker call me. He lives in the Denver area, and he said, "Hey, my brother-in-law just got diagnosed with prostate cancer, and he's having a hard time dealing with it." He said, "Would you be available via the phone to talk to him?" And I said, "Sure. Heck, if you want, I'll fly out to Denver and I'll meet with him." So I've done that
Wow.
for quite a few people in terms of just getting on the phone, listening.
Hmm.
They're going through what I've been through, and just kind of extend that olive branch, if you will, to help somebody process, you know, it because it's a lot thrown at you.
Yeah.
My recommendation to anyone who's been affected is take somebody with you to your doctor's appointments because you're going to hear about one out of every three words as the doctor's talking.
Yeah.
You have somebody else there to
Gonna remember.
listen with you as well. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. I
Yeah,
love
I
that.
know I know that when I tend to even just go in for like a yearly checkup, a lot of times like I'll be like, "Hey, is it okay if I just record this?" Because depending on what they're going to tell you,
yeah,
like
Hmm.
you might be just like dwelling on like that one sentence that they said for the entire time. And so
Right.
being able to just
exactly.
record it on your phone and go back and listen to it later because you know your wife is going to be like, "Hey, what did the doctor say?" And you're like, he said
Well,
I was
he
he
said,
said I was okay,
I
but I don't
guess.
know." And we're gonna get
Yeah,
accused of not listening
Yep.
to it. So being able to say like, "I got it all here on recording," like you can listen to what it was is definitely a great way to sort of
yeah.
impress your spouse a little bit on that one.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Definitely. Well, this has been an awesome conversation. I really love the fact that you're coming to Home Dad Con.
Mhm.
I think that you have no idea what you're walking into with all these guys. Like it's a great weekend,
Yeah.
and a lot of energy, and also too just a great way to reach guys all over the country and share what's going on. And
And a lot
um,
of brave men. I'll tell you, Bob,
yes,
I think you'll be very impressed with the number of men we have in our group who will stand up and say, yeah, this is something that happened to me. So I think your message is, and I think I said this previously to you, so I'm sorry to repeat myself, but your message is right in our group. I mean, just you're really just talking to people that really need to
Awesome.
hear you, and I think will respond very, very well to it. I'm looking forward to it.
Nice. I'm really looking forward to attending and sharing and having that conversation with as many folks as possible.
yeah, definitely. And I
Awesome.
I think too, just being in San Antonio, quite a few cowboys back in the day had a good mow, so you'd
Right.
True.
be right in company there with that. But yeah, it's going to be exciting to have you there. We're just really happy that you're coming to talk with us, and I think that as the months go on, there's going to be more going on with Movember just because that's something that the National At Home Dad Network has gotten involved with, and
Hmm.
there's some other dad groups around the country. I've been involved with City Dads for quite a while, and that's a pretty big group of dads all over the country that we are definitely going to be mobilizing to get involved with Movember again this year. So lots of
Excellent.
awareness to be raised, even just on these like small local pockets, which is super important. So yeah,
Yep. One conversation, one person at a time.
definitely.
So
Definitely.
Absolutely.
it's all good.
Well, hey, thanks for coming on the show. It was awesome to talk to you. We will definitely see you in just a few short months, and looking forward to that. We'll definitely put up some links in the show notes on where to get involved. Definitely want to put a link for the YouTube video that shares the rest of your story. But man, we thank you. Hope you have fun out in Pasadena with the golf outing, and we will talk to you more in September at Home Dad Con.
Gents, thanks. It was fun chatting it up, and I look forward to meeting you in person.
Not everybody.
I'm a dad, that's what I do.